Hello. So, our goal for today is just I wanted to put in a video format your lessons for January. So, the first lesson was just to approach your horse and halter him. Now, I have a horse approaching me here. This is Cash. I don't know if she's approaching me or the dog on the ground here. But I'll use Cash here to demonstrate lesson number 1. And that was just to approach your horse. And I like to approach them with the friendly side of your hand, which is the back of your hand, and just give him a rub. And I've got my halter here, and what I'm going to do is I'm not going to get in a hurry to halter him. What I'm going to do here is just take a hold of that halter string like so, and just start rubbing it. So I'm not in a hurry to get that halter on Cash here. Now with a skeptical horse or one that doesn't want to get caught, you might find that the less direct line you are about getting that halter on, the more willing they will be to get caught each time and to allow you to approach them. So I'm just you want to do lots of rubbing here. Okay, lots of rubbing, and not just with your hands, but with the halter itself. Okay, so I'm rubbing the side of her face, and I'm just going to rub that nose piece on. Rub, rub, rub. Okay, now once I get to this point, I'd like to slowly ask her to tip her nose down and towards me. So what I might do is I can either use my hands or the halter to apply that pressure. Just a real light pressure on her nose here, and also a pressure just above. I'm just going to back her up here so you can see. Okay, actually I'm going to lead her over here so you can see a little bit better. All right. Okay, so Cash thinks a lot of herself. She can be very opinionated in what happens in life. So what I'm going to do here is just ask her to tip her nose to me. And then once she tips her nose to me, I'd like to gently ask her to put her nose down for me. Just tip it down. So for those really tall horses, you'd like to teach them every time you halter to tip their nose down and to you, so that you don't have to be reaching way up here to get that halter on or that bridle. All right? So that was basically step 1, lesson number 1. And you can only get your horse better and better at that, okay? So what I'd like Cash to do is just to stay. She just backed up, so I'm just going to ask her to come forward for me. Is to stay in this position, just nicely tip towards me, and I'm just going to do lots of rubbing to reward her for being in that position. All right? So I'd like the horses to basically, what they'll start to do, the more you do this, you'll get to this point with your halter where you're offering it in front of their nose, and they'll hunt it. They'll seek it out, and they'll put their nose through that halter for you. But first we've just got to get them into the habit of tipping their nose to us and a little bit down, just nice and soft and relaxed for us. All right? Now the next step you could either do with the halter on. The more advanced stage would be to take the halter off at this point, bunch it up in your hand, and you don't have to do this on day 1. You could just do step 1 a few times day after day till they get better about tipping their nose to you. But the next thing we want to do is I'm just going to put my hand on this side of my horse, and I want to approach her right side. So now I'm over here on her right side, and the challenge here is to not let her leave. So I'd like to just keep rubbing. If she thinks about leaving there, I'm just going to tip her nose back to me over here. And what I'm going to do is just rub her between the eyes and rub her up around the ears so that she gets used to being approached on both sides. Okay, rub her down her neck and just keep that nose tipped towards me on this side. All right? Very good. So that was step 2, was to approach the right side. And just see if you can get her to stand with you and allow you to rub her with that halter without leaving, okay? Seems simple with Cash, but I have horses here that I had to do this about 10 times before they would stand for me, okay? So step number 3 was to start on the left side here, give her a rub, and rub that halter down this left leg. And what you'd like, you don't need to do it with a halter, but it certainly doesn't hurt. You can also just do it with your hand. And you want to rub her down that leg so that she doesn't pick it up and she doesn't try to leave. Now I'm going to approach that right side again and rub her down her neck here. And again, I'd like to be able to rub her down this right leg without her picking it up, okay? So if I got to this point right here and she started lifting her leg, I'd keep rubbing till she put it down and then I'd retreat, okay? I only want her to pick that foot up, and this is the rest of step number 3, is I'd like to lift her foot up by applying pressure to that chestnut, okay? I apply pressure, she lifts up her foot, I rub that chestnut and gently put that foot down, okay? So those 3 steps are what I'd like you to work on. And don't be in a hurry to get to step number 3. What you want to do is just go through it very slowly so that at no point your horse thinks about leaving. If your horse thinks about leaving, it means maybe you've just sort of blown through something that you needed to take a little more time. All right? Now I'll try to find another horse and demonstrate the same thing.